Hi folks, Veston here, and welcome back to Cartoon Theory. Now, my next theory is not one that relates to Pokemon, but it might have some voice actor connections to a certain anime I'm going to talk about. Today, I'll be talking about the anime Slayers. For those who don't know, Slayers was an anime that was based off of the Japanese light novel of the same name. The anime is considered to be one of the best animes in the 1990s, like Pokemon. But the question is, why? Well, let's start with the premise. A teenage sorceress named Lena Inverse and her gang of spell-casting comrades go on quest to solve a lot of the world's problems, provided if Lena can get something in return. Her friends and colleagues, including Gallery, Zelgadis, Amelia, as well as Philia. What made this English dub, produced by Central Park, work? Well, let's start off with the casting. The casting is perhaps the most important part of the dub. The casting was provided by Taj Productions, the same company that helped 4Kids Entertainment dub Pokemon during its first 5 seasons. And they casted some very excellent and very interesting choices. For example, the voice of Lena Inverse was Lisa Ortiz, who people might remember as Amy in Sonic X, various female characters in Pokemon, and Coco in Finding Foodons. She really knew how to give her performance such grace, anger, and power to create a sorceress who may be helpful on the outside, but on the inside, she'll only do it for a bite to eat. Eric Stewart, who you may remember as Brock and James, was Gallery, the slightly dim-witted swordsman of the group, but he isn't that stupid if I recall correctly. I wonder if the voice of Gallery is where he got his voice for Brock and Seto in Yu-Gi-Oh! Crispin Freeman portrays Zelgadis, a sorcerer who is half human and half demon. Interesting fact, but Crispin Freeman, while he was doing Slayers, also helped out with some of the English adaptations of Pokemon during its first 2 seasons. And last but not least, the voice of Ash herself, Veronica Taylor, voiced Amelia, the youngest member of the quartet who came from the Holy Kingdom of Sayrum. Following in her father's footsteps, she wants nothing more than to be a hero of justice like Lena. Sure, she might annoy others with her justice obsession, but at least she doesn't go too overboard with it. Filling out the voice cast from Rachel Lois as Martina, David Mu as Zelos, James Carter Cathcart as Prince Phil, Maddie Blaustein as Jilius, Scotty Ray as Valgarve, Matthew Sussman as Gravos, Stacia Crawford as Sylphiel, Ted Lewis as Zangullus, and of course, Tara Sands was cast as Philia. And one person who reviewed Slayer's Try said that people behind the show weren't crazy for Philia, but I'll say this for him. Pretty much any character Tara Sands' voice puts a smile on my face. So in case you haven't noticed, almost all of these voice actors have also worked on Pokemon. Makes sense considering that they were both dubbed by Taj. The other thing that works is the animation. The animation in the 3 seasons of Slayers was very well done. It kind of looked like something Pokemon's animation studio OLM would do. But the funny thing is that OLM didn't actually do the animation. It was entirely the work of E&G Films. I guess they were so much into the Dungeons & Dragons thing that they wanted to incorporate that into Slayers. Also, let's not forget the stories. Now, for a PG-rated anime, this was very well done. I mean, the stories never feel like they're out of place, and even the filler episodes they do really put them all together. But one of the best examples of good storytelling is, of course, Season 2's Be Eternal, the day Prince Phil died. In that episode, Amelia is visiting her home kingdom of Sayrum, where it has been a rumor that her father, Prince Phil, had been killed. Upon hearing the sad news from her uncle, who was voiced by Stuart Zagnut, best known as Professor Oak, she runs into her room crying into the book that Prince Phil used to read to her when she was younger. And this is where the acting really kicked in. When Veronica Taylor recorded this, I can only assume that she really had to feel a lot of emotion coming from her in this one scene of her mourning in that book. Lena comes in and consoles her, telling her that she'll find the guys who murdered Phil and with a vengeance, and also reminds Amelia that her kingdom needs her. Convinced, Amelia decides to take justice out on the killers. This scene proves that Lena is not a nuisance. It's just that she never likes to see her colleagues feel bad, and she would do anything to help them. Of course, spoiler alert, near the end of the episode, it is revealed that Prince Phil is indeed still alive, survived the attack, and is able to fight off the bad guys. And how did Brian Blessed put it? Oh yeah, Gordon's alive! I can't do a very good Brian Blessed impression, sorry. But these days, watching Amelia reunite with her father in this episode would kind of bring people to tears, because as of this recording, we already know that his English voice actor, James Carter Cathcart, passed away not too long ago. He will still be missed. But that was only one example I could think of. Now, remember when I talked about the guy who talked about Slayer's Try? Well, his name is KaiserBeamz. If you've seen his videos, he had nothing but praise for the English dubs of those seasons of Slayers. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already. If you like my stuff, you're going to love his. I highly recommend his reviews for the first 3 seasons of Slayers, as well as all the others in his Kyoto video series. And hey, maybe I'll talk about Finding Foodons at some point. Who knows? But anyways, that's all for this video. And that's all the videos for October. Did any of you guys ever watch Slayers? If so, please let me know in the comments. And if not, go to those reviews that KaiserBeamz did in the description. I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. And hey, maybe I'll get DVD copies of Slayers next and try someday. Who knows? Well, see you later, everyone.